What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Dylan Talks, and today we have a very special guest, Chadarmestv. He's got a new album coming out known as Live Forever, with over 22 features, including Project Pat, Upchurch, Broadnax, Adam Calhoun, The City Paper, Fade Eastwood, Lil White, Justin Time, David Ray, Squints, Lex Top Dollar, Chucky Velvet, Troy Money, Trapper Mandel, One, Lil Flip, Leroy Biggs, Tin Man, Legacy, Bezel Gang, Scott Broadway, Swag Dude, is that how you say his name?
Yep.
And Worm. Now, if you wanna give the people an idea of how this all came together, like what was that process? Like, how did this build up into such a massive like amount of features and just something that's just super badass, you know? Like, for people to actually have a packed album with just so many special artists.
Yeah, man. First of all, I appreciate you for wanting to sit down and talk with me, Dylan. I've been following what you do for a minute, and I applaud what you're doing. I think it's good for independent artists, not just in country rap, but I don't consider myself country rap per se. I consider myself, Southern rap, hip hop. But I appreciate what you do for us, man. As far as Live Forever, man, it's available now too, by the way. I'll go stream that. It started out as a project that was probably going to be 10 or 12 songs, man. It wasn't going to be what it ended up being. It was going to be a similar album to Dedicated. My last album, Dedicated, I dropped July of 22. It was 12 songs, completely solo album, no features whatsoever, not even on hooks or anything. It was all solo stuff. And then I had about 10 songs. After I got a little chunk of songs, I was like, cool, we'll do 10 or 12. And then stuff just started falling into place, I guess. I ended up getting the track with Project Pat, which was a bucket list thing for me. He's my favorite rapper other than Pimp C, who's passed away, obviously. But living rappers, Project Pat's my all-time favorite. So once we interviewed him in August of 22, I was like, man, I want to end up working with Pat. So that happened. And then stuff just kind of started snowballing after that. I already had some songs that were already finished. But then 12 songs turned into 13, and then 15, and then 16. The song, like, for example, Broadnax and me and Broadnax got a new song out called Nevermind off the album, right? Broadnax was originally supposed to be on Represented with me and Project Pat. And it just ended up not working that way for the better. And then that song got added. The Stone Cold song was supposed to just be me and Justin Time. And then we got Lil White and Adam Calhoun on it like last minute. It was like a buzzer beater. So that's kind of how that happened, man. It kind of just kept, same with the song with D-Ray, with David Ray and Squints. Squints was going to get on the album one way or the other, but the David Ray was like a buzzer beater track too, like last minute. So it just kind of worked out. A couple of the songs were old to me, like Sleepless Nights with me and Leroy was done in 2021 for Bad Habits 2. It just fit my solo album more. Same with Flowers. Flowers was supposed to originally be on my last album, and I didn't do any features. So it got added to it, you know what I mean? So that's kind of how it came about. But it turned out, I couldn't have asked for a better way for it to turn out. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And when we were talking on the phone, you talked about how it really originally started when you kicked it with Upchurch, right?
100%. Upchurch is the inspiration behind the whole project. So when Upchurch came and did those features for me in O&E back in October of 2022, we did the Live Forever track first. Now, I sent Church some beats. I sent him the Live Forever beat, which was produced by Play That Beat Wee Wee, who's been buying, I've been getting beats from him for 12 years. He's part of David Ray's production camp. He's produced for Jelly and a lot of other artists in Nashville. So Church loved that track. So when we get to the studio, Church had an idea of the hook already.
Is that loud enough for you or you need more?
Can you turn it up a little bit? I'm from West Nashville, bro. Crank that mug up. I'm deaf for Memphis 12s and fucking single cabs.
L7s.
Do you want more beat? You want more?
That's good.
That's good. Start from right there, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, here goes nothing.
Church! Mother. Fucker! Hell yeah. I'm gonna live forever, there ain't nothing they can do. I'ma be a staple, keep my ticket stub and boots. When I'm gone, you'll see the seed that fell from dead and roots. I'ma live forever, there ain't nothing they can do. Yeah, we saved that.
When he did that hook and then that verse, I wrote a verse in the studio that night, and it was nowhere close to the verse that I ended up doing. I had to go back and redo the whole thing. But just that whole vibe of that record, man. Once that record got finished, Dub killed it with the mix and mastering, as always. Dub 3030. I heard that and I was like, man, I'm so inspired by this song. Do you mind if I call my album Live Forever? He was like, fuck no, bro, go do that shit. You know? And that's kind of how the album title came about, was because of the Live Forever song. So Church was 100% was a inspiration behind the whole naming of the album and you know, the theme of the album. I had already had some songs finished for a solo project, but I had no idea what I was going to call it. You know what I'm saying? Church jump-started that for me, not even knowing that he was doing that. He was just looking out for his friend and hooked me up with some features. We've still got another one with Church we haven't released. We'll probably release as a single by the end of the year, me and O&E. So salute to Church, man, because he was a huge inspiration in this whole project in general, for sure.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What would you like to tell the audience that is listening if they could pick any track to start off with from this album? Which one would you tell them to start off with?
Oh man. As far as if it's somebody just coming in blindly and wanting to listen to Live Forever the album, what song would I suggest first?
Right.
Oh man. I would say the one with Church, just because the one with Church is it's such a hype, energetic vibey track, but it's got such a dope like message to it. But it's a dope message while it's hype as fuck. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, I think that if I was gonna suggest either that one or I love Noises, because Noises is a deep track. It's a very personal track to me. It would really just depend on the person's, like, what they're into the most, you know, because I feel like I got a good eclectic like mix of stuff. But I would suggest the one with Church first, probably. Live Forever, for sure.
With Project Pat being on this album, as you said, like, that's like an artist you grew up listening to, and then you got to interview him. What was the whole story behind how the interview with him came together to then getting him on the song? I mean, the album itself as well.
Okay, great question. So first of all, Project Pat is the GOAT. He's the GOAT to me. But that happened. I was just in that. It was Tailgates and Tall Boys last July. I'm super cool with one of Jelly's security guys and 3-6 Mafia security guys, Country. I don't know if you're familiar with Country, man, aka Pelvis Presley. Shout out to my dog, Country. We were at Tailgates and Tall Boys together, and I had been doing a lot of interviews, Chadarmestv interviews. You know what I'm saying? I did them a couple with White. I did one with Jelly. I hadn't done the one with Calhoun yet. I did some with Broadnex. I'd already done a good amount of interviews. And I just hit Country up and was like, man, is there any possibility I can get an interview with Project Pat? He's like my favorite rapper. Well, Country's the main security guy for Pat. So he was like, man, I can make that happen. And Country's the man. Country made it happen. And Pat, knowing Country so well and being so cool with Jelly, and me being so cool with Jelly, it was just a blessing. And me and my lady Mel, we went down to Cincinnati to do the interview. Pat had a show that night, like super late, right? We started the interview, 15, 20 minutes worth of the interview. Pat had to go do his show, right? So me and my lady and Country and HB Solid, who's another security guard for Pat, and Pat went to do this show. We were just going. Pat brought us up on stage. Pat let my lady stand right next to him and film. him doing chicken head. Like, Pat was super cool. We only had about a 20-minute interview though, right? It's like 3 a.m. We get back to the hotel in Cincinnati, and Pat said, "We gonna finish the interview?" I was like, "Shit, yeah, we can." You know, I thought all I got was a little 20 minutes, and I was cool with that because he did whatever he did for me. Dude, we sat for another, I don't know, hour, you know, and he followed me back on Instagram, followed Mel on Instagram. Like, he was a super, super chill, laid back dude, man. But that's how that came about. Salute to Country, salute to Jelly. Jelly didn't even know he made that happen, and he did. But getting to hear him talk about how he came up with the idea for the song Chicken Head, talking about how he got on the Drake Knife Talk, talking about how he came up with the style, going through all those legal troubles he was in. It was such a dope interview, man. And we're going to do another one at some point too. I've spoken with Pat about it. He's just super busy. He's going through and doing the prison tour now, where he's going and speaking at a lot of the prisons for his nonprofit and stuff. So a salute to Project Pat, man. That's some bucket list shit, the interview and the song. I never thought I'd do a song with him.
Jellyroll was in jail a lot of times, and you were known for him calling you saying, I need to get my YouTube channel started. I need to make something out of it. Mm-hmm. Can you tell the story of like what that experience was like, how you created the channel and then making the Notorious freestyle that went viral and it was like an overnight sensation?
Yeah, man. So I'll give you the breakdown of me and Jelly's friendship, how it started. We'll just do that, right? And shout out to Southwind, my guy Drew. I spoke about this on there too, but I want to tell it on your platform as well. So I met Jelly in like 2005 outside of a random birthday bash for a guy that we were all cool with by the name of Cadence. He was a Nashville rap legend. And salute to Cadence. He made a lot of dope ass music back in the day, right? It was his birthday bash. Well, I was in a group called Lyrical Royalty Entertainment. It wasn't even Show and Prove yet. This was before I started Show and Prove. It was a group that my buddy Pudgy started, and it was me and him and my buddy Brandon E and my buddy Truth and a bunch of us. We're all together rapping, and we were all green as goose shit, bro. This was like, I had only been rapping like 2 years at this point, 2005. We were all outside, and Jelly was out there. Jelly had the long braids, and this was when Jelly was buzzing with like Gambling on a White Boy Volume 1. He was doing a lot of the freestyle battling. I think he was working on Volume 2. The mixtape. He just started chopping it up with us. He clicked with us like almost instantly. Then Jelly linked up with us like later, pulled up on us when we had a show in Nashville a few weeks later. And then Jelly just started coming out to my house in Greenbrier. Jelly lives in like Antioch at that point. He was coming out to my house in Greenbrier and just cutting feature. We was cutting songs together for no money. Like, he was just driving, finding a way to my house, recording. We were cutting music. Me and Jelly got 30 songs together. All of them before 2012. We just started cutting songs and just became really good friends. I started Show and Prove in 2006. And me and Jelly kept cutting songs. Jelly got locked up in 2007, 2008 timeframe. While he was locked up, MySpace was big. Facebook was only for like college kids. Facebook wasn't for everybody yet. You had to have a college email and all that shit. YouTube wasn't a thing to the masses. I think YouTube had been out like a year or two. Jelly just started, he needed somebody to help him run his MySpace. So while he was in there, to keep money on his books, for lawyer fees, for commissary, for keep money on my phone for him to call me, we were running his MySpace. I was selling his mixtapes for him. People were just hitting me up on his messages, and I was mailing them off. So they was paying me, I was mailing them off. He gets out at the end of 2008. At that point, I had just went and bought a camera from Best Buy, just a little HD, or not even HD, bro. I was telling you off camera. It was a fucking 480p Sony Handycam, dog. Like, it wasn't even, I didn't have the money for an HD yet, because at that point, they were like $1,000. I didn't have $1,000. So, dude, he gets out in 2008, the end of 2008, we start filming. He starts recording music. At the beginning of 2009, he introduces me to Worm, R.I.P. Worm. Jelly was on curfew. He was on community corrections. he had to be back at his home at 7 o'clock every night. So I was getting up early, going and picking him up. We were going to the studio, recording till 6. And then I was taking him home. We did that for a month, 2 months. And in that 2-month time frame is when he cut the 10-minute freestyle.
Jellyroll sitting clean till they eyes stall. Plus I still get money, yes I ball. Every time I see you, bitch gives me an eyeball. And if my P.O. ask, I hang drywall. Give him again.
And the thing about that is he had been freestyling for 10 or 15, 20 minutes before I turned my camera on, because my camera only had like 30% battery left on it because I'd been filming all day, other stuff. He cuts the 10-minute freestyle. My camera dies. He was still freestyling after the camera died. And to show how old this was, YouTube, you couldn't upload longer than 11-minute videos on YouTube. That's why the freestyle is like 10 and a half minutes. It was so much longer than 10 minutes though. But I didn't want to break it up into parts. You know what I mean? And the freestyle happened. And we had it up for 3 or 4 months, and Jelly got into a little issue with his PO because in the freestyle he talks about going to ATL. Well, he was just rapping, but it threw like a flag to his PO, like, where are you going? So he was like, man, you need to take that freestyle down. So we took it down, which he's spoken about all this. Salute to Jelly. He shouted me out on Rogan, Theo Vaughn, Joey Diaz, like Bootleg Kev. Salute to Jelly. He goes out of his way to do that for me, and he doesn't have to do it. So we re-uploaded it in October of 2009. You know what I'm saying? So we uploaded it at the end of January, took it down a couple months later, re-uploaded it in October. And it just started getting thousands of views. And back then, 10,000 views was viral because it was MySpace, bro. We embedded the video on his MySpace page. That's all we did. And it did what it did. And now it's over 5.5 million views. And he's uploaded it to his channel as well. And it's gotten no telling how many, a couple million. But bro, that's what's crazy about Jelly. Jelly did that all the time. There was another time he did it with headphones on for like 45 minutes before I even had a camera. This was like 2007. I was sitting there watching him freestyle. He was freestyling the beats that he was listening to in his headphones off of a laptop. That's just what he always would do. You know what I'm saying? And then now, you know, still to this day, I mean, like, for example, like if my PO ask I hang drywall, he turned that into a merch line that still to this day, he still signs. Like it shows, he'll sign, people will bring drywall for him to sign. It shows, which I just think is the coolest shit ever.
Also, him shouting you out on Joe Rogan, like when you saw that, did he hit you up afterwards, or did you hit him up about it? Like, I would have been freaking out a little bit, like, holy crap, that's Joe Rogan. That's a big deal.
Went straight, got the GED, came home, started selling mixtapes out of the trunk, Joe.
Wow.
I'm selling I started a YouTube channel. My homeboy Chatty Bobby, Chad Arms, I love you forever. Started me a Facebook and a YouTube channel while I was in jail, because I called him from the education unit now, like, look, we got to figure it out. I got a kid.
Oh, yeah, well, see, I hit him up and just told him, I've shared it and told him how much I thanked him and
yeah,
all that stuff. But I didn't have any clue that he shouted me out on Joe Rogan. I knew his episode premiered, and I went and started watching it. And then I'm sitting there watching it, and I hear him say that, and I'm like, oh my God. Because at that point, he had already shouted me out on Theo Vaughn, and he had already shouted me out on Joey Diaz podcast and Bootleg Kev's at that point, and then a couple of other ones. But I wasn't watching the episode hoping that he did. I just wanted to watch it because it was cool as fuck that he was on Joe Rogan. And then when he did that, and see, Jelly's such a good dude in the sense that Jelly knows how much I love podcasts, especially comedian podcasts. So when Jelly goes on there, it's almost like he makes it a point to do that because he knows I'm going to watch it.
That's just such a legendary experience. But I feel like that story of like y'all, like when it comes to the freestyle, man, I'm just surprised, like with the documentary, there hasn't been something made to tell that story, because I feel like it would be so interesting, you know? Yeah.
And well, fun fact, whenever ABC reached out to me when they did the documentary for Hulu, because of the 10-minute freestyle, and they had me send them some clips of the freestyle, some other old clips, and there's very small snippets like of that footage. There's a snippet of Jelly freestyling from the 10-minute freestyle in there, and there's a snippet of us and Jelly in 2005 at an O'Charlie's that they shared in there, which was so funny. And I didn't even shoot that. My buddy BJ, the DJ, shot that back then. He just gave me the footage. But they credited me at the end of the documentary and all that. But they did hit me up about it. They just didn't use it. Just didn't, I guess the segments didn't make the cutting room floor or whatever. But they still used a couple of little pieces of the footage for B-roll. You know what I'm saying? While he was talking about some stuff on there, which was super dope. But yeah, man, that shit's wild, man. That whole story is just wild. Seeing Jelly doing what he's doing it's super cool, man.
If you could tell the world like your top 5 artists, and it could be from any genre, and it can be from any decade, because there's so many artists in the music, period. What would your top 5 artists be?
I'll probably just stick with rap because that's mainly what I listen to, but I love all kinds of stuff. But top 5 artists, shit, man. Lil Wayne, I won't put him in any order. Top 5 rappers. Lil Wayne, for sure. I'd say this is a deep dive, but I'm a bar guy, rapper wise. A dude named J.R. Ryder. He's a rapper he used to be with Cameron and Dipset. He ghost wrote for a lot of people. He's one of my favorite rappers. Tech Nine. I love Tech Nine. I love his older stuff more. Project Pad is my number 1, which I said earlier. Pimp C. I guess that's 5. Pimp C, Project Pat, Lil Wayne, J.R. Ryder, Tech Nine.
I know you have a show coming out October 27th to October 28th in Bryson City, North Carolina with Show and Prove.
Yeah, so it's a 2-day event, October 27th to 28th in Bryson City, North Carolina. It's called the Halloween Hootenanny. It's a 20 acts on Friday, 21 acts on Saturday. It's like a festival. Myself, Leroy Biggs, O&E, Twack from Show and Prove are going to be there. But you've also got Young Buck, Lil Flip, Gorilla Zoe, Best Believe, and a bunch of other dope-ass artists are on it. We're doing those 2 shows, October 27th to 28th. And then in October the 30th in Asheville, North Carolina, we're going to be at a place called the Asheville Music Hall. And myself, O&E, Leroy Biggs, Twack will be performing there as far as Show and Prove goes. But yeah, the 2-day event's going to be dope. Tickets are available now at Eventbrite. And it's going to have like a haunted maze. It's this whole humongous field. And they're going to have vendors. They're going to have food trucks. They're going to have merch booths. They're going to have haunted maze, Halloween themed stuff, performances. It's going to be dope, man. They did it last year and it went really well. Waka Flocka was like the main headliner for that day, but they only did it I think they only did hip hop one day. But it's going to be dope, man. If y'all are in the area, I think tickets are only like $30. If y'all are in the area, y'all pull up on us, man. We'll be there for 2 days, chilling, kicking it with everybody, shooting footage for Chadarmestv and all that.
Nice.
Yeah.
How did Show and Prove? Well, I got some shit to say. Is it odd? Would you call it I got some shit to say, or would you say Show and Prove?
So Show and Prove. So I got some shit to say the podcast, Chadarmestv. Like I got some shit to say the podcast is Squince's podcast, right?
Oh, okay.
And then, but we're co-host on it, but it's his podcast. Chadarmestv is my YouTube channel that we've started in 2009. I got some shit to say is on Chadarmestv. But both of them it's all intertwined with Show and Prove Entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Just like the music, Chadarmestv, the podcast, it's all like part of the same umbrella that's Show and Prove Entertainment.
Okay.
Which I started Show and Prove in January of 2006. Because back then, man, you know, I told you earlier, my buddy Pudgy started Lyrical Royalty Entertainment. We were doing that for a few years. Pudgy started doing the family thing. He got married, had kids, and, you know, wasn't doing music near as much. And so he was doing the family thing, and I was still doing my music heavy. And I was trying to start my own independent, like, entertainment company, you know, like, and I was just trying to figure out ideas. And one day I was just like, I'll just do Show and Prove, because at the time, so many people kept telling me, not my buddies, just random people, was telling me they were going to do this, they were going to do that with their music and with this and that. Nobody ever did anything, just talked a lot about doing it. I was like, man, show and prove. That's what I always like to do. I like to show and prove to people that if I'm saying I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, you know? And that's why I called it Show and Prove Entertainment. And it was myself and my buddy Brandon E. From Jump, and my buddy BJ the DJ, who's a co-host on our movie podcast, Over the Top podcast, and myself and Tony and Chance. And then like a year later, I met Squints at a random show, and he jumped on board with Show and Prove, and has been, you know, we've been Show and Prove since 2007. But that's kind of how that all started. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was trying to ask about. I got some shit to say, because that's been a really interesting dynamic with the two of you, and then having the guests. And I was gonna ask, like, how did that start, like, with you and Squints?
Yeah. So I got some shit to say with how that started. Was Squints started? It was Squints' idea. Squints started the podcast. I got some shit to say. During the pandemic, he had did 2 episodes, and it was just him. But he did 2 episodes, and they were interviewing people via like Skype or like this, you know what I'm saying, for 2 episodes. And it was during the pandemic when everybody was locked down and that kind of stuff. Well, I hadn't done anything on Chadarmestv, bro. This is the thing people got to realize. From 2012 to 2021, I didn't do anything on Chadarmestv. I uploaded a random song here and there, but that was a dead YouTube channel for years. I almost deleted the channel. The only reason I didn't was because of all the classic footage on it, but I wasn't uploading on it. I wasn't doing anything with it. Once we started getting back doing all that stuff, when Worm got out of jail in April of 2021, the Chadarmestv channel just picked right back up where it left off in 2011. With the day in the life stuff with Worm, with the videos, the funny videos and all that. And unfortunately, Worm passed away. I got laid off from my job, my full-time job in February of that year. I didn't know what I was going to do, because it was still pandemic stuff. It was still weird. You couldn't do certain things. And then the channel started working. I just started doing it full-time and putting all my chips on that and my music. Well, Squints had already been trying to figure out that podcast thing. He had already did a couple episodes. Well, once I started Chadarmestv back, I was like, bro, he was like, you want to be a co-host? It was kind of like one of them things. I was like, fuck yeah, we'll put it on my YouTube channel. Because I have this channel that I ain't using, I'm using again. It's already got a subscriber base. You've been on the channel. The first video on Chadarmestv is a day in the life of Squints. You know what I mean? So we just started doing the podcast, and neither one of us, I had done a few podcast tries over the years. I did one called the Chad Arm Show, which I interviewed Upchurch on in like 2015 when he was Upchurch the Redneck. The quality's horrible. I mean, it looks like we filmed it on a damn flip phone. But salute to Church, salute to Johnny Catchfield, because he linked that interview for me back then. Well, I just never could be consistent with it, because then doing them by yourself, bro, is difficult. Without guests, it's very hard to do a podcast solo. And so we just started figuring it out. Squints had no idea how to be a podcast producer. He didn't know anything about. Squints was an artist all these years and did like printing. That's what his job is printing. So he just went to YouTube University, bro, and just Googled everything. We figured out it was trial and error for the first 3 months. We recorded episodes that didn't work, that we never put out. And then end of July 2021, we uploaded episode 1 of I Got Some Shit to Say. And ever since then, you know, we were doing 2 a week for over 2 years. Now we've scaled back to 1 because the schedules for everybody is so demanding. Squints has a family, a full-time job, and he's doing videos for us and artwork. Me and One and Leroy, who are all three co-hosts on the show, all of us have full-time situation. One's got a full-time situation with music, me, Leroy, all of us. So, but we haven't missed a day, a week since we started. And it's just consistently, we've gotten some really dope guests on there. We've charted in the top 10 we charted for months on Spotify in the top 10, for music podcasts, which is awesome. But it's just a constant grind with that. But that's how that started. It started as Squints doing it by himself with guests through like Zoom. And then once I started the channel back, we just put our heads together and was like, well, I'll be a co-pilot on this with you. Let's just put it on this channel. Because we almost started a new channel, but I was like, well, it's going to take this long to get monetized. You're already a part of this channel from years ago. Why not it just made sense. We're partners in Show and Prove, so let's just do this, But that's how that started. That's how the podcast came about. And alongside of the podcast with the Chadarmestv interviews, which are different vibes, the Chadarmestv interviews are more DJ Vlad style, minus me incriminating the people getting interviewed. You know what I mean? Like, it's more deep dive, like this one is. Podcast is more shoot the shit. We'll ask some interview style questions. Then we may spin off into sports or food or music or, anything but religion and politics is what we always have said from jump. There's been a couple times where we've talked briefly about either one of those things, but we try to stay away from it because of how polarizing those conversations can be. But yeah, that's the gist of how all that came about, bro.
That's so cool how like everything intertwined,
Mm-hmm.
Like right when you think you're about to quit something, just blessings start to happen all of a sudden. Like everything just intertwines.
Yeah, no, it is, man. It's dope that everything's been able to do what it's done. And, now for the longest, Show and Prove Entertainment, artist-wise, was just me and O&E. And now, I mean, as far as artists, Squints gets on stuff for us, but Squints isn't an artist anymore. He's a podcast host. He does videos and graphics for us, but he'll still rap when he wants to rap, but he's not trying to be an artist like that. But artist-wise, I mean, you got myself, O&E. Now we've got Leroy Biggs, which he's always been extended Show and Prove family. Now he's Show and Prove. You have Twack, who's been around since Jelly 2010 days. Twack's always been cool with Jelly and One and all that, so he's always been around. And then we've got Legacy. We've got Tin Man. We've got Chucky Velvet. You know what I'm saying? So it's really cool to see what we've got coming up in the future. Like, we're going to be dropping projects every month from somebody in Show and Prove. There's going to be months where multiple artists drop. We're going to start dropping Show and Prove compilations called Big SMP, the Big SMP series. We're going to do like a compilation monthly of each artist will have a song on the project, and we're going to try to drop those every 28 to 30 days starting 2024. So in addition to the projects from all the artists, you're going to get those as well.
What I really like about the album was the Stone Cold track with you and Lil White, Justin Tom and Adam.
Oh yeah,
and
Stone Cold, yeah.
Lil White was like a surprise type of collab on that, right?
Yeah, so like the Stone Cold track, and this is what's so crazy how this stuff works, bro. Just on like inside baseball, shout out Jelly. That was a term he used with me and Squints on episode 14 of the podcast, and we've used it since, but kind of seeing how the sauce was made. So it's like Stone Cold wasn't even a track I was going to put on the album. I had that beat from Dub. The way that me and Dub work is like this. If I hear beats on Dub's website and I want those beats, I buy the beats from Dub as soon as whether I'm going to use them right then or not, because Dub sells beats so fast and so many people lease them and buy them that as soon as he uploads new beats, I try to get them as soon as I can if it's something I want, and then I'll sit on the beat until I figure out what I want to do with it. Because I want to grab it before somebody else gets it. You know what I mean? So that Stone Cold beat was one of those beats. I had it. I came up with the idea at the podcast one day. Initially, it was going to be something maybe that me and one did for Troy and Emmett. And then I was like, nah, and then one ended up getting on the other track that's on the album. So the Stone Cold song, I did a verse and a hook for it, and that was all that was on it. I made a post about the album, people giving me my respect when the album drops. Justin Time, who's always supported me, he's called me every time I've charted. He's FaceTiming, congratulated me. He's posted me on Instagram saying, are y'all going to just ignore the fact that Chatty Bobby's one of the best people at it with bars? Justin, I've never asked Justin Time to do that. He just does it because he's a cool motherfucker. Well, he hit me up on Facebook and was like, bro, you need a verse from him for the album of yours? And the album was pretty much done at this point. At this time, it was like 15 tracks, right? I was like, well, yeah. So I started thinking, what can I give him? And then I was like, I have this Stone Cold song that I don't have a verse. I just have an empty verse on it. So I was like, fuck, I'll get Justin Time on it, you know? Sent it to him. Within 30 minutes, he had his verse written. He's like, oh, bro, this is fire. I got you. Wrote his verse, recorded it like 3 or 4 days later. So I was like, cool, Justin Time's on the album. Boom. I go to interview Lil White because Lil White, you know, he took some time off and he's recently sober. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to give me the first interview since he's become sober because White has been my dog since 2009. He's another one. It's Chadarmestv, 2009. There's Lil White, Day in the Lives back then. White has done nothing but support me all these years, and he's never asked for a dime for any of it. He's just a real one. When we did them interviews, we already had done 2 interviews. So his wife, Nicole, was like, White wants you to interview him, you know, before he goes and interviews with anybody else. So I went up to Memphis. Well, Justin was in town finishing their album. So I interviewed Justin and Lil White, and then I interviewed Lil White solo. While I'm interviewing Lil White, if you go back and watch the newest interview with Lil White, you can hear Justin Time recording his Stone Cold verse with Sano in the background, like in the studio room. That's what's wild about how all this shit intertwines.
Shout out Justin Time, shout out Sano, they're in here too. They're finished.
Trying to walk by all quiet and shit.
Yeah.
Like,
this is actually, they're putting the
final touches
on the album.
So we joked with Lil White about, hey man, there's an extra verse on that song. He's like, I know, motherfucker, I know. I was like, hey, you want to get on it, bro? It's yours, you can have it. It's all yours, it's right there. You know, just fucking with him. Because me and him's never done any music together. We've done plenty of content, no music. So White says, I got you, I'm gonna do it. So he's in the midst of doing his verse. Meanwhile, I talked to Adam Calhoun via FaceTime. We're sitting there talking. He's like, I'm excited about your album coming up, man. I'm proud of you. I'm proud you and John got that song together. And I was like, man, you want to get on the album? He was like, I can try, man. Because he was in the midst of promoting this album with Tom, the biggest album in the world currently. You know what I mean? At the moment. I sent him Stone Cold. I said, look, Justin Time's on this, so him and Justin are cool. I sent him the Stone Cold track with Justin Time. And I also told him White was getting on it. He was like, can you just send me the beat? He liked the beat. He liked Justin's verse. He liked my verse. He liked the hook, everything. I hadn't even heard White's verse yet. White hadn't finished his yet. I sent it to Adam. He said, give me some time. Let me see what I can do. A week later, he's FaceTiming me in the studio, like knocking his verse out to it. And I want to say the night before that or the night after that, White did his verse. You know what I mean? So, and this was like right there towards the end of like the cutoff. And that's how the Stone Cold track happened, bro. It was not supposed to even be on the album at all. It wasn't supposed to be me and Justin Time and Adam and White. It was just a song I wrote a verse and a hook for. And I had Justin hit me up, wanting to get on the album. And if Justin would have never hit me up to get on the album, that track would have never happened, is what's crazy. Maybe not right now. It may have later. You know what I mean? But it's weird how that stuff works, bro. Like the church thing. Church getting us collaborating with church, literally, I had interviewed him and Leroy like a week before that. I mentioned to him then off camera, I said, man, I'd love to do music with you, Ryan. And I'd been telling him that, but I know everybody tells him that. And he said, man, we probably can, man. I'm just busy at the moment. I was like, I get it. No worries. A week later, he video messages me. He was like, hey, man, you want to do some music? You can find a studio. I've got some time tonight. We can do it. So I got on the horn. Shout out to my guy, Sam Rothstein. That's the engineer that moved stuff around last minute and facilitated Church coming and doing those features. But that's how that happened, bro. That was an organic thing. It was spur of the moment organic. Church came with Be Loose and his security and to a place he had never been to, knew nobody there but us, didn't know who was going to be there, didn't ask, just came and was there 6 hours. You know what I mean? He was supposed to just get on, do one song. Then he was like, man, you got anything else? So then I sent him something else. He did a hook for it. Then at the end, I was like, hey, man, me and One's got a song called Work. I just want you to hear it. Tell me what y'all think about it. That's that video you see him and Be Loose like vibing in the studio.
Hate one, so they lied on them. Pussy niggas keep on showing their colors. They might as well put the pride on them. Go get that bread, bitch. They ain't paying your bills, so fuck what they said, bitch. I need a fed bitch. I need a pussy popping on her head, bitch. If you got it, that's what you should have led with. It's funny how the ones that gas you up never be the ones you end up dead with. Throw that money on them.
When we're playing Work, when One's rapping on his verse on Work, Church wasn't even on that song yet. He was just vibing to the song. The song ends and he says, do y'all got something else like that? I'll do a verse for y'all for something like that too, which would have been the third feature, right? I said, bro, you can get on that. We'll just get a verse added to it. And he wrote and recorded his verse on the spot for that. You know what I mean? I was just playing him that song so he could hear it, so we could get an idea as what he thought on it. And he liked it so much he wanted to get on it. You know what I mean? Broadnax, me and his stuff. Me and Broadnax have talked about doing music for 2 years. I interviewed him the first time in September of 2021 when him and Demon and Adam and all them were in the studio cutting what was Adam's Country Rap Tunes album. They were cutting their collab tracks for that album. I met John that day. Salute to Adam, because he helped facilitate that, and Leroy. And met John that day. We did that interview. And then we just kept in contact. A couple months later, me and my lady Mel went down to Louisiana and interviewed him at his house. And then 6-7 months later, we went back again, interviewed him again. But we had been talking about doing music. But with Broadnax, it's all about, he wants to get to know the person. He wants to, you know what I mean, like, and that's going to happen. It's going to happen naturally. And that's exactly what it did with me and his song, Nevermind, which is my favorite song on the album. You know, like that one and probably Noises. And I love all of them though. But the one with Church, I have to put up there too, because that's what inspired the album. But like me and Broadnax's situation was the same way. It was an organic thing. And you see how it turned out. And Adam Harper killed the video. We went back to Louisiana like, a couple weeks ago when this is being filmed, and went and shot it. And, you know what I mean? That's the rest is history with that. And it's doing really, really well on YouTube for me, you know, like organically, it's like, it's doing some numbers. And salute to Broadnax, man. Cause that's not only is he a good friend of mine, he's an inspiration to people like me, because I'm doing a weight loss thing now. He's the reason for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I saw you shout him out when you showed the scale. You're like, shout out to Broadnax.
Yeah, because man, I just need to get healthier, man. I'm not getting any younger, and I need to lose weight, and I've been doing it. And him and my lady both are big supporters with that, and one. And when Adam Calhoun, and going back to Adam, when Adam has talked about he's never charged for a feature, he just does features for his buddies. I can attest to that, because when Adam did that feature for me, Adam said he didn't want anything. I said, well, you don't want nothing? Church, same way. Church said, I just want to do this for you, bro. That kind of shit doesn't happen like that, bro. For people at those levels, that's not something that, and when they say that, they're 100%, at least in my case, they're 100% telling the truth, which is commendable. And it's not just them, it's all these guys I've been talking about. It's like that, you know. And a lot of it I think has to do with how genuine I am and how how we've been able to establish friendships over the years, these guys, with the Broadnecks and the Lil Whites and Adam and Jelly and Justin Time and, you know what I mean, everybody. Church. You know, it's cool that I've been able to do that kind of thing. And it's not anything that I've set out to do other than just being genuine. You know what I mean? And that's why I tell people all the time, man, if you're just a genuine person and a good person, good things will happen for you. But a lot of the times people are so focused on the now and not trying to build any kind of long-standing relationships in general, not just music. They want the quick come up. Yeah, the quick come up or something. And I get it, but I've just never moved like that. And I think that's why I have the relationships I do with these guys. Obviously, people were like, why didn't Jelly get on that? I'm like, have y'all seen what Jelly's doing? I just watched Jellyroll perform on Jimmy Fallon 2 nights ago. And then after he performed on Jimmy Fallon, he jumped on a private jet and flew to West Virginia and performed a sold-out show for 20,000 people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Jelly would love to be on my album, but when is Jelly going to do it? He still shares it. He shared me on Instagram. He comments, say, I pre-ordered it. I love you. You know, this, that, and the other. But it's like, of course I would have loved to get Jelly on the album. But like, bruh, Jelly's not getting on nobody's album right now, but his own. You know what I'm saying? When does he have time to do any of it? But that would be the only thing that would have made it, I don't want to say perfect, but like obviously a Jelly feature would have been incredible. But like realistically, that man has got so much going on. The fact that he still goes out of his way to show support to me on Instagram or shout me out on such and such. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like that in itself is, I mean, but it's been a ride, bro. It's been a wild ride. You know, Live Forever's doing well. I'm looking forward to y'all hearing the One's project. That's the next project from Show and Prove that's dropping October 27th. November, it's looking like Legacy's album's dropping. Twack's got an album on the way. Leroy's got a new project with Dub that he's doing. Tin Man's got an album coming out. Chucky V's got some dope singles on the way. I've still got Bad Habits 2 with Leroy that we're working on. Me and One are working on our second collab project. Troy and Emmett, you know, Joe and Jerry did really well and still is doing well. We're working on Troy and Emmett now. That's the one we've got another feature from Church for that album as well. That song will probably come out by the end of the year, just as a single, to let everybody know that we've got Troy and Emmett coming. I've got my movie and wrestling podcast that I do on my other YouTube channel with my guy Tony and my guy BJ and my guy Chance, where we just talk movies and wrestling. That's just like a passion project. We do that because we love to do it. Those have been my friends for 10, 15 years, and we just love wrestling and movies, and we like talking about it. So we do those every Thursday night. It's on my other channel, my Chatty Bobby 1130 channel. That's like my movies and wrestling channel, my nerds channel.
I think that's fire, bro. I love wrestling. I mean, I love the old shit, like 2005,
that's how we
2007.
Yeah. That's all we talk about is old wrestling, nostalgia. Like, we're older than you, so ours is like 90s, like early 90s. But we watched it in the mid 2000s as well.
Yeah. But I still bought the DVD, like the Attitude Era, so I got aware of like the Attitude Era.
Oh yeah, that was prime Attitude Era, 98, 99, because that's when all of us were like freshmen in high school. So like that was prime wrestling fan. That everybody watched wrestling back then, bro. When The Rock and Stone Cold were doing what they were doing, you couldn't find somebody that didn't know who they were.
And to now be homies with Jelly Roll, that's crazy too.
Yeah, that's wild. I'll tell you a quick little story. When we were shooting, I was with Jelly doing behind the scenes for his video for a song called Sober that he did on Ballads of the Broken. It was on the Ballads of the Broken album. We were sitting in a barn where Jelly was doing the video shoot, right? This is how crazy Jelly Roll's life is. I was sitting next to him at this poker table where they were shooting a scene. We wasn't shooting a scene, we was just chilling, shooting shit. Jelly gets a notification that The Rock has posted him on Instagram, right? Then he gets a FaceTime call from one of the biggest comedians in the world. Andrew Scholes FaceTimes him while I'm sitting right next to him at this video shoot. Because The Rock had shared Jelly and Andrew Scholes like comedy song that they put out during the pandemic. Open Her Up or whatever. Andrew Scholes was calling Jelly Roll, telling him how crazy it was that The Rock just posted him. That happened. I was sitting right next to Jelly when that happened, dude. I was like, holy shit, man. And this was before, you gotta think, this was July of 2021, bro. Jelly was popping, but Jelly hadn't even put out Son of a Sinner yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, this was leading up to that coming out. And now, I mean, Drake follows him on Instagram now. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's just wild how the little stories happen, and it was just all of us sitting there.
Yeah, and you captured Son of a Sinner when it was getting created too, right?
Yeah, man. So that Jelly was recording that Ballads of the Broken album. This was like June of 2021. Worm had just passed away like 2 months prior to that. And we were there because it was Squince's birthday. And we were there shooting Jelly Roll's interview that's out on Chadarmestv. It's the last interview I've shot with Jelly. I think we're going to try to get another one shot hopefully soon, because there's a lot that's happened in the last 2 years for Jelly. But we were filming it, and when the interview that we filmed that interview in was the same room he recorded the Save Me video. Well, then he did the interview, then we go into the studio, and he starts playing us songs from the album. He played us Son of a Sinner, which that's the footage I posted.
I'm only one call away from home. I guess I'm just a little right and wrong.
He also played us Dead Man Walking.
To run from what I've done, and it cost me everyone. All that left me was feeling numb. Sometimes to moment, I stay one shot from smoking. Another round in the line from going. Living on the edge, 1 foot in a coffin. Lord knows I pray too often. Knees down when the devil come calling. Ain't no saving. Dead man walking.
These were all like skeleton versions of the songs. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't finished or nothing. But that was just another fire ass moment. We were drinking tequila, hanging out, me, him, you saw everybody in the video, like David Ray was sitting right next to him, who co-wrote Son of a Sinner with him and Ernest. But yeah, dude, we were just sitting there. He just lets me just film whatever, bro. I was just filming, and he just casually plays us that. Obviously, you saw our reaction when we first heard it, but we never knew it would be what it ended up being, clearly. But it's just wild, man. It's wild that those kind of moments get captured like that. And when you're in them, you don't know that they're going to be those moments. I just film them and then post them. Yeah. And then whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of the times when you film something, you don't ever, at least me, I don't ever think, oh, this is going to be a huge piece of content. I just film it. And then if it turns into because a lot of the stuff that's been the biggest stuff on my channel, it wasn't stuff that I even thought was going to be, you know. I knew when we did the 10-minute freestyle of Jelly, I didn't know it was going to be what it was. I knew it was a dope-ass freestyle. But you got to understand, I had watched this dude do this 25 times before this. Better than that. As dope as that freestyle was, Jelly he would get in pockets where he would do that for an hour. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's what's crazy about it, because when you're living in that moment, you're not realizing what it really is because you're in it.
Are there any artists from this album we haven't talked about, like Bezeled Gang, Troy Money, Trapper Mandel, Leroy? I'd like to get him on here now that I figure out how to do interviews, because I feel like it'd be cool to get to catch up with him, because I know he's gone through a lot this year, and he also just dropped his recent album and stuff. It'd be cool to get an interview with him in. No,
for sure. I can talk to Leroy for you about that. Leroy is, I mean, he's family at this point. Like Leroy, I can tell you how me and Leroy linked up. So February of 2021, right? I was working on an album called American Dream, which it's out now. It dropped April 1st of 2021. I had heard about Leroy through my buddy, Tony, the dude I do the podcast with, Friday the 14th. He's a huge church fan, and he kept telling me about this guy named Leroy Biggs in like 2020. And he kept sending me videos and I was like, I didn't know who this guy was. Of course I knew church, you know what I mean? But I heard about Leroy. Well, when I was doing my American Dream album, I had been listening to Leroy's, like, I think it was album Dose at that point, his first 2 albums, right? I hit Leroy up about doing, getting the feature, you know, for the album. Well, it turns out, like, Leroy had been watching Chadarmestv when he was like 9 years old. Because Leroy's 24. He's young. He's like, that's why I call him nephew. So in 2008-9, you know, Leroy's 10, watching jellyroll freestyles, day in the life of Worm, and you know what I'm saying? So he already knew who I was through that, and knew of my music through Jelly and Worm and Struggle and all them. So, and him and Struggle are related. So like, we linked up. We did a song called Finna Do that's on my American Dream album. Love that song. Produced by Play That Beat Wee Wee. So I got Leroy on the album. That was February 2021. We just kept in contact, you know what I'm saying? And when Worm got out, Worm found out who Leroy was and was like, oh, me and this motherfucker need to get together and do some content. Because this dude is hilarious. He may be one of my kids type shit. They were so similar in how quick-witted they were, how funny they were. And Worm was just on house arrest, so he couldn't leave nowhere. Well, Worm passes away in April. And when I decided to keep the channel going with interviews or content or whatever, in addition to doing my music, Leroy's one of the first people that I interviewed, other than a guy named C.O. Cakes, who just passed away as well, R.I.P. C.O. Cakes. Me and Mel went and interviewed Leroy, but it was really just not an interview because I didn't know I was doing interviews then. You know what I mean? We were just getting him to tell random funny stories. He tells a story about how he ran for mayor.
So Leroy, why don't you tell everybody the story of how you almost were elected mayor?
You talk about my political career?
Your political career, brother.
So, you know, what happened was I turned 18 and I was an adult. Let me tell you, this back when you could buy tobacco when you was 18. Now you gotta wait till you're 21 and all this shit. Well, I fucking went down to the county commission and fucking registered as a fucking candidate for the Ashland City mayor race. And Ashland City's a little podunk fucking town. You know, not too many people's voting in general, letting alone early voting. Well, I was telling motherfuckers in fucking school and shit, like their parents and stuff, hey, y'all, I'm running for mayor. Well, sure enough, they'd get out that way. They'd stop in and fucking vote. Well, it came time to where, like, people were setting up booths and shit, and you could go look, and there's fucking, it was like me and 5 other fucking 64-year-old men. And I was just dogging these old motherfuckers, dude. Like, these are honest Christian businessmen. I'm pretty sure one dude was a pastor. And here, I'm a stoner flunking out of high school. And dude, I'm fucking winning, boy. You talk about some fucking electoral college shit, bro. I won California in this motherfucker. Well, then it got to the point where everyone was spending like $10,000 on their fucking campaign, and I'll die and walk to hell before I put the money in the fucking, you know what I mean? Yeah. I ain't doing that Mickey Mouse bullshit. I thought this was a bubble-in test. Like, yeah. Y'all paying money for fucking signs and billboards and shit, bro. I was writing on fucking the tops of goddamn mason jar boxes, fucking Leroy, and fucking, oh, man.
What would have happened if you would have been elected, bro?
I'd have gone to jail. I'd have gone to jail. Can you impeach a fucking mayor?
I don't know.
That's what would have happened, bro. Because then it would have became a job. Like town meetings and shit. Fuck you. I'm not going. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm not doing that. But like,
one of the guys that you would have beaten in the
Can I
race.
be honest with you?
Yeah.
Can I be honest with you? I'm thinking about running again. And now that I got fans and shit, I'm thinking about running again, put money behind it. Fuck it. I'll come there.
Oh, that would be the best thing ever, dude.
I'm seceding from the Union, bro. We're becoming North Bahama, dog. What's up?
And he tells a story about when he got pulled over in town, and he's just telling random funny shit. He was just being funny for 30 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then that spawned into me and Mel going and picking him up and us going to the studio, and we did day after life, day in the life after day in the life after day in the life.
Like on Tony Montana, the roughest bitch got me a bag. My bargain for real. All music and pills. My hustle's the hardest. You gonna eat out the garbage. Full got the struggle, so racks in the front of sensations. And I'm blowing her back. Chatty and Oweny. Cause there ain't no hoe in me. Hopefully. In all of my rosaries. Yeah.
Dude, we're...
I just stepped on a brick that I can with a camper and hit me a lick like I'm Tony Montana. You devil's in trouble, I scuffle the roughest. So look, I'm legit, bitch, I got me a bag.
Well, then it got to a point where me and Leroy was like, fuck, you want to do a project together? You know what I mean? Because the American Dream album came out, but when it came out, it was when Worm just got out and we was doing that content. So I didn't even promote that album whatsoever. We were just promoting the videos, the content. So if you're familiar with the Bad Habits record at all, there was a song called Ain't About the Dough. I just hit Leroy up to get on that song. Not for, just to get another feature from him. He did that, and then he was like, well, shit, I got one from Dub 3032 called Pete Rose. You want to get on it? I was like, yeah. So I got on it, and then we were like, well, fuck, you want to do a project together? You know what I mean? We were just basically swapping features out, and it turned into Bad Habits Volume 1. We charted, that's the first time I ever charted. We charted number 6 with that on iTunes, hip hop, with zero promotion other than Leroy's Day in the Life videos on Chadarmestv and us talking to people on Instagram. That's all we did. We did those Day in the Life videos of Leroy, which people fucking love. And he would promote them on Instagram, and then I'd promote it on Facebook, because my following on Facebook is better than it is on Instagram from an engagement point. And we put that album out, and then Leroy's been close. I mean, he's been family since then. But that's how that happened. Like, that was just, it started with a feature in February. 3 months later, we went and interviewed him. Then it went to another feature. Then it was an album. Then it's, you know what I'm saying? Then we're doing, you know, I mean, all kinds of stuff. Now he's showing proof. Now that he's back home, you know, we talk every day, multiple times a day, you know. And he's one of the most talented people I've seen as far as how quickly he can come up with dope ass ideas for songs. And I'm not talking rap songs. I'm talking, you need a country song? Hang on a second. You need a rock song? Hang on. Like, he can do any, I mean, he's proven it with the last record, but like, he can do everything. And he's 24. You know, he's young, bro. So it's dope to have that kind of energy around us older cats, because it keeps us youthful. You know what I mean? And at the same time, he's learning from us because we're the older guys. You know what I mean? So it kind of, it's one hand washes the other type shit. Shout out to Leroy for sure. Y'all definitely should do one of these.
Yeah,
I'll talk to him for you about it.
Yeah, I did one a while ago. It was terrible because I didn't know how to do interviews. Like, this is like first time I actually got it running. But I feel like it would be a better one to do it now that I know what I'm doing, because I really didn't know what I was doing back then.
For sure.
And he could do stand up too, man. He's so funny. Like, I'm surprised he hasn't tried that lane as well, because he would be hilarious as a stand up comedian.
What's up, bitches? Oh, you bench what? Bang! You know, whiskey got a kick, right?
Yeah.
Pussy shouldn't have a kick. Pretty sure my granddad was homosexual.
I mean, 60% of the time I got in fucking trouble, it had something to do with Microsoft Word.
Some country ass shit. We made some country ass shit, you bunch of fucking hicks. If you're inbred, this is for you.
I fell knee deep in some push, and my shit's still itching.
Oh, dude. Well, he's written stand-up material, like, and let me and Mel hear it, and it's fucking priceless. I mean, it's great. It's just a matter of getting him up on that stage and doing it, which I know he's not scared of doing. It's just doing it, because we know we could get him on at Zany's, where we're at, just on open mic or something. We know we could, and he could bring some people there. It's just a matter of him wanting to do it enough to do it. You know what I'm saying? But he definitely could. He could do it just off of crowd work. He doesn't even need material. He could just literally get up on stage and do crowd work. People in the crowd, hey, such and such. And just talk, just because that's all he does with us on those Day in the Life. Granted, he knows me and Mel and Squints and One and Twack and Chucky. You know, everybody that's around this area that's part of the team. But, I mean, he can do it with anybody, you know. But that's
and I feel like he'd be a perfect person to go on, like, on the I don't know if you heard of Kill Tony, and they have like Cam Patterson that goes on there that's like real popping right now from TikTok videos, like, because TikTok's like where all these stand-up comedians are using the most now, like their funny moments. But like, yeah, I feel like he would be huge if he did stand-up. I feel like he's got it. Like, I remember when I was talking to him a couple of times, I was like, people don't understand how hard it is to have like charisma and like confidence and like just have it so naturally, or freestyle on the top. Like, you'll have a video where he's just freestyling like how Jellyroll would do back in the day. It's just, that's something you're born with, you know? You don't, not everybody has it.
Yeah. And I tell people, there's so many comments I've had on Chadarmestv videos of Leroy of how similar him and Worm are, or how similar him and Jelly are. And they're not wrong. They're all right. Like, those three guys, R.I.P. Wizzle, but those Jelly, Worm, and Leroy all have a lot of similar qualities as far as a natural ability to entertain people, a natural ability to talk to people, to make people laugh, the natural ability. Him and Jelly's similarities are the natural ability to create dope-ass ideas in different genres so easily. The ability to freestyle so easily.
Let's go. Chadarmestv.
I feel like Jelly Roll, I let them know I'm really about it. The car is cloudy, the kid is from out of Cheatham County. Find me on the creeker, yeah, they know my best. Bitch, I got them tweakers fucking itching for a cigarette. Is he really best? Better than I ever been. Call me 45 and I ain't talking about the president. I let him in, it's irrelevant what you're saying. The kid cockeyed, he's rapping and he's a Caucasian. I feel like Toby, keep the boot in your ass, and everybody know I sell it, better do it for half. You can find me in the woods, you can find me in class. I'm a student, motherfucker, but I'm showing my ass. R.I.P. Worm, the boy sick, I got germs too. What you gotta say, motherfucker, I'ma hurt you. Worthy, I feel like James Worthy, and coming through 23 old Jordan jersey. Everybody know my name, they call me Leroy. I'm real to the bone, all of y'all is decoys. You can find me in the woods, I done said it before, and I'm getting head, bitch, I'm beheading the whore.
And him and Worm's similarities are more so the entertainment factor. Because Worm isn't the type of person that could have went and freestyled and stuff like that. But Worm, his freestyling was his humor. And that's where Leroy and Worm were very similar.
Oh, Worm's videos are amazing. I crack up every time I watch your vlogs with him. He'll just start kicking it, start roasting everybody. He was hilarious.
When I get this motherfucking VHS tape off my goddamn ankle, oh, bro, look at time. Look at the driveway on this motherfucker right here. I mean, why would you do me like that? No emoji.
Oh man, he's one of him and Leroy are two of the funniest people. Like, I really do put them up there with like a Theo Vaughn as far as how naturally funny they are. Just in them talking. You know what I'm saying? It's all that same like ballpark. the way Theo Von is, that's the same way Leroy is, and that's the same way Worm was, as far as the natural ability to just be funny without even trying. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you said, you just have it, the natural ability to just, the charisma to just be able to do it.
Does Jelly see his music often? Do you ever hear Jelly talk about Leroy's like start to where he's at now?
Yeah, I mean, Jelly is a big supporter of what Leroy does and his music and just him as a person. I mean, just to the fact when Leroy was in a hospital bed after he had overdosed, we were at the Ryman for Jelly's album release show, and everybody was outside. We were sitting in the crowd. Everybody was chanting Jelly, Jelly, because he hadn't come out yet. Jelly was on Instagram Live backstage with Leroy before he went out on stage at the Ryman for the show. He was holding up the Ryman show to be on live with Leroy and our homie Rail, just giving encouraging words to Leroy. Like, I think that's still on Leroy's YouTube, or it still is on his Instagram.
Yeah, I was watching they had Yellow Wolf in the background too, and Struggle.
Yeah, and Strug. Everybody, it was backstage of Jelly's album release party. We were outside, like we were in the crowd. Everybody was chanting Jelly, like, where's Jelly at? And then I look on my Instagram and it said Leroy Biggs is going live. And I look at it and Jelly Roll's back there shooting. I'm like, that's where Jelly's at. He's shooting the shit with Leroy, trying to build his spirits up before he comes out here and destroys this hometown show for his album release. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of shit, bro. I'm telling you, that shit goes a long way with people, man.
Oh, I think with Leroy getting another shot at life, like God has plans for him, man. I feel like when I think he even was like, man, I don't know how, but I'm here, and that's a miracle. Like hearing those types of stories, and I think for his future, like he has another chance to really like do other things that's gonna change his life. He has the potential to be hilarious in comedy. He's good at music. If he wanted to, I mean, himself, if he were to be like a live streamer and just kick it and talk and make jokes, like you see that all the time where people just blow up on streams and become streamers and stuff. Like he could do it all if he wanted to. It's just all up to him, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. He could definitely do the Twitch streaming because he likes playing games anyways. That could be a whole lane for him. I need to tell him. I mean, he's probably already been told that, but his brother's really good at all that kind of stuff. So maybe we can see if we can do it, because he plays video games all the time. He whoops me in Madden a lot. Not this year's Madden, but last year he would whoop me all the time. We would do Madden games and, you know, chat on Xbox and shit.
If he could just get a face cam, have it set up to where like they see him and then he's talking to you or whoever and kicking jokes, like those types of like just real, like you say, authentic feelings of just chilling, but also having a person that's just so funny on the fly. Like comedy sells, man. I had 3 Instagram posts this year that I shared of comedians, and they all got like 1.4 million views, and it's because people want to laugh. Like people love getting a laugh out of something. So I feel like his main talent to me is his comedy. Like his comedy is just something that could go so far, you know?
Oh man, yeah. And the dope thing about that is the shelf life on being a comedian or just being funny is a lot longer than the shelf life of music, you know, which is dope because he has that he can lean on if he wants to, whenever he wants to. While he's doing music, he wants to do the stand-up or he wants to do just comedy videos or whatever. That's why I try to do as many of them as I can with him when we're around, because that's what people love to see. And like, it does nothing but get more eyes on him being him, which ultimately can gain him more supporters or more streams or whatever can help him, you know, because the more people that see him, the more people that are going to draw to him because he's funny, you know?
Yeah. Well, I appreciate this interview, man. We got 1 hour and 26 minutes in. How I do these interviews, I'll edit one and then upload one and then edit one, upload one, and then eventually I put it all together. So you should see like within a day or two, like one of the videos off of this uploaded.
Okay. Yeah, and I guess just before you upload them, just send them to me. Let me look at them and shit, and then we can just make it. Just do it that way, man. And we'll just however you want to roll them out, dude. I'm down.
Yeah, I'll just leave them unlisted. Send you links of what you think when I got one edited, and you let me know.
Yeah, that'll work.
I appreciate you. I think this was an awesome interview. I feel like we got a lot of good questions in. If I forgot any, or if any other artists that I didn't talk about, make sure y'all check out everybody's song on this album. This is a big album, like a really huge album, and it was an honor to be able to do this interview. And I was not trying to talk too much in this interview, because I feel like I've done so many interviews lately where I interrupt people, so I was trying to like let you speak and then me talk. So if it seemed like I was kind of being chill, I want to make sure people heard you through the interview, because I interrupt a lot when I talk.
No, bro, it's fine, dude. I appreciate it. No, you did great, man. This was a dope ass interview, man. I'm glad that she was able to do it, and I appreciate you shining some light on me and the Live Forever album. And we can do another one later down the road, man. Once we got some more stuff to talk about, man. And I'll holler at Leroy for you, and anybody else in the camp, man, that you wanna sit and pick their brain. I'm sure it's nothing for me to holler at them and get them to, do the same for you for show and proves standpoint.
Oh yeah.
So
I feel like what's cool about this, you can add multiple people. So maybe the next one you bring you and Leroy on, and we could just kick it on here.
Yeah. However you want to do it, Bubba. Just let me know, and like I said, I'll get you them CDs out tomorrow.
Okay.
And I'll sign them and everything and send them to you. And I appreciate you doing this for me, dog.
Oh, no problem. Whatever projects you got coming up, just hit me up, and we can always do one.
Hell yeah, bro.
Well, thank you, man. I'll send you that address right after this interview.
Okay, dope. Hell yeah, man. Y'all be sure to subscribe to Dylan Talks, man. Go check out Live Forever.
You have anything you want to plug in before I end it?
Yeah, man. Chadarmestv.com. That's the YouTube channel. We've got merch on there. We've got CD bundles on there. Live Forever available now. Go stream that. ONE, Devil's Son-in-Law, dropping October 27th. And we dropping content 3-4 times a week on Chadarmestv at the minimum. We're going to hit y'all with so many projects within the next 12 months from all the show and prove artists. Y'all are going to have plenty of music. So just tap in, man. Hit the bell, notifications, and we appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate you, Dylan.
All right, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for this interview.
Hell yeah, bro. Peace.
Peace.